Tripod stand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the meeting of the Mayor and Council, January 17, 2019. It's our regular meeting, and we're going to have the call to order. I'm going to start with the statement of compliance of Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meetings Act by notification on January 2nd, 2018 of this location, date, and time to the Asbury Park Press and the Link News, and by the posting of same on the municipal bulletin board.
January 9th, 2019.
No, there's a correction to that.
A correction, January 9th, 2019. And by posting the same on the municipal bulletin board and borough website. We'd all stand to salute the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Oh, I have to check that out. So let's pray. Hello, everybody. Lord, we welcome your presence with us. Bless our governing body and our entire community with protection, peace, grace, and love. Amen.
Amen.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Deeren?
Here.
Councilman Gallo?
Here.
Councilman Irace?
Here.
Councilman O'Brien?
Here.
Councilman Proto?
Here.
Council President Solon?
Here.
Mayor Coffey?
Here. First item we have is the presentation of the holiday decorating contest winners. We got some smiles in the back of the room here. And we've got 6 awards. Best Overall, which was 38 Wolf Hill Avenue. Best Tree, which is 18 Island Avenue. Best Yard, which is 42 Pemberton Avenue. Best Door/Windows, 30 Steeplechase Court. Best Condominium Townhouse was 54 Steeplechase Court. And the most original was 31 Massaro Street. So we asked the winners to come up.
And we have the president for the Recreation Committee here, Therese Wallman, to
We
do that
volunteer to
presentation.
present. Come on up, Therese.
I'd just like to say, this is one of the things that makes Hoosier Court great. The Recs Committee, we do so much stuff behind the scenes that benefits the town, kids, everyone gets involved. They do an awful lot of work. You know, again, it's volunteers that make this town great. And Teresa and her group do so much for all our enjoyment. They deserve all the credit.
Thank you.
So I have 38 Wolf Hill for best overall. Anybody? No? I don't have names. 18 Island Avenue for the best yard.
Come on up.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're welcome, thank you.
Best tree.
Best tree.
Come on up to the front so we can take your picture.
Best yard.
That's all right?
Best
Come on up.
Darrell Walden.
How about the best door and windows, 30 Steeplechase?
You should decorate the back.
Okay, so I have the best condominium townhouse, 54 Steeplechase? No? And then 31 Massaro for the most original. You're welcome.
You guys help too.
Okay? All good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take the Colt stuff off of the picture. You need Jet stuff.
Yeah. No, they won.
Therese, you want to get in there?
I like that. Therese.
Yeah.
Okay. Count to three. 1, 2,
I know, thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry about the Colts. Yeah, what are you gonna do next year?
Okay, so now that we know who the winners are, they've had their picture that will be on the paper next week. We're going to move to the administrator's report.
As reported at the November 1st council meeting, legislation was passed banning smoking in parks, which became effective yesterday. Prior to that effective date, Public Works ordered signs, and they've been placed at the entrances to all borough parks, advising that smoking is prohibited and violators are subject to fine. The Green Acres program provided a report on their inspection of Oceanport parks. All of the parks appear to be clean and well maintained. Green Acres did provide new signs to replace their faded signs. They also requested that we remove the no trespassing sign at the compost area at Maria Gatta Park and replace it with an authorized vehicles only sign. They also advised that there was a treehouse on the funded property at Horseneck Point that needed to be removed. Public Works has replaced the sign at Maria Gatta Park, and the treehouse has also been removed. The borough's use of the Old Wharf House as a borough hall and municipal court since 2014 was reviewed by Green Acres. While emergency and temporary use of a building on Green Acres funded property for a beneficial public purpose can be granted, this use cannot extend beyond 2 years. After discussions with Green Acres, the borough's use of the Old Wharf House has been approved until March of 2020. The only other item that still needs to be addressed is to ensure that there are no encroachments at Blackberry Bay Park behind the residences off of Cayuga. I am working with the borough's code enforcement officer, John Johnson, on that issue, and we will be scheduling a site visit to make a determination regarding any encroachments. I've been in touch with Shrewsbury Borough's interim administrator, Maureen Muddy, who has advised that the resolution renewing the Shrewsbury Oceanport Shared Services Agreement regarding court will be on their agenda at the January 22nd meeting. The previous administrator had already forwarded me the proposed agreement at the current rate of $3,000 per month. While the current agreement did expire on December 31st, 2018, Shrewsbury has allowed us to continue the use of the courtroom facilities. I would request that this action be included on the February 7th agenda. Is that the right meeting day? 7th? Okay. I also spoke with Seabright's Administrator Joe Baruni regarding renewal of the shared services agreement with Seabright to provide their court services. This agreement expires at the end of February. Mr. Baruni has advised that the Borough of Atlantic Highlands has reached out to them to provide their court services. However, Mr. Baruni indicated that unless there is a substantial savings, and he doesn't believe there is, he would prefer to stay with Oceanport. This item will be discussed at Seabright's meeting on February 5th. I reached out to the New Jersey Department of Treasury at the end of December to get some direction regarding the action the borough needed to take in order to receive the dedicated funding it is entitled to from sports wagering at Monmouth Park, and clarification as to how the borough can use the funds. Legislation went into effect in early December that a municipality had to apply to the Department of the Treasury for distribution. However, at the time I contacted the department, they did not have a system in place. I did reach out to the department again yesterday. Unfortunately, I did not get a response, but I will continue to work with them to try to get an update on what we need to do. I attended the Monmouth Joint Insurance Fund's reorganization meeting on Thursday, January 10th, which was followed by their safety luncheon. During my tenure in Farmingdale, I always found these meetings to be very informative and was happy to see that the sharing of information continues. The safety luncheon focused on cyber attacks, and there was a presentation from Wall Township's administrator regarding their recent ransom attack and the steps they had to take to get their borough back up and running. And it was really pretty scary. But I will be working with the Monmouth JIF on what additional action the borough can take to make sure we are protected. The roof at Portapac Firehouse has been resealed and recaulked, and Public Works has cut the tree branches back on the north side to help with the drain clogging problems. Repairs and maintenance to the generator at the Hook Firehouse were previously paid by the borough since the building was used by OEM and served as an emergency operations center for other events. For some reason that stopped, and there are repairs that are needed. There's a problem with the fuel currently in the tank, and it needs to be filtrated and an additive added after filtration. The fuel filter needs replacement and maintenance needs to be done. There is a company that will come in January to take care of the issue with the fuel tank at a cost of $516. And once that is done, we can take care of the filter maintenance issues. That concludes my report, unless anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Anybody? Okay, we move on to the next item, which is the consent agenda, which is items number 2019-39 through 2019-49.
So 11 items, are there any questions? We didn't get to, most of these are either regular business or some were workshop previously.
I'd like to make a motion to remove item 43, 2019-43.
You want to take item 43 separately?
Vote separately, yes,
Any others? All right, is there a motion on the remaining 10 items on consent?
So moved.
please. Second.
The motion?
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Irace?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number, resolution 2019-43, a resolution appointment for boards and committees. Is there a motion?
Are we voting on those separately?
No, it's one resolution.
One
If you
resolution?
want to request to amend it, you can do that. Make a motion to amend the resolution.
I make a motion to amend the resolution to have a separate vote on the appointment to the Parks and Recreation Committee and the appointment to the Water Watch Committee.
Okay, is there a motion to appoint Scott, I can't say that name, Mark Antonio to the Parks and Recreation Committee?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Irace?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is a motion to appoint Patty Cooper to the Water Watch Committee. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? Okay, the motion fails. That has been removed. The next item on the agenda are the minutes. Item number 1 is the special meeting minutes for November 8th, 2018. I just wanted to bring to your attention that there needs to be a correction on page 1, where it identifies the resolution to appoint Donna as the borough administrator. At that time, it was for deputy borough administrator. So that's been since corrected. And we'll take them individually because they're different dates, and we do have some members that aren't able to vote. So do I have a motion with that correction for the approval of the special meeting minutes, November 8th, 2018?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Irace?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Yes.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is the approval of the executive session minutes for November 8th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Irace?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien? Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item is the workshop minutes for December 13th, 2018. Is there a mo-
Second.
Iris Deering? Councilman Deering?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Iris?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Abstain.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is the regular meeting minutes of December 13th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Iris?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Abstain.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries. The executive session minutes of December 13th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Iris?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Abstain.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes. Abstain.
You weren't able to. Approval of the reorganization minutes of January 3rd, 2019. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Iris?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Abstain.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item we have is,
Mayor,
for-
sorry, I had two things to add. One thing to add. We have, I wanted to let everybody know on the record that we've received Fort Monmouth Plan Amendment number 13. It's been distributed to the borough professionals as requested. We did have a conflict with our borough planner. I was asked by the Planning and Development Chair, Councilman Proto, to reach out to Beth McManus. Beth McManus has agreed to do the review for us since Clark Caton Hinds has a conflict. So she'll be working on that. I anticipate having all of the comments and responses back for the February 7th meeting. So far, we are receiving a number of comments regarding the development.
You'll have a bunch from this board too, because there's a lot of things in there that were not even told to us that are totally different. Even when we met with Premier recently, so there's gonna be a lot of issues and concerns.
You may want to provide them to me in writing by email so that we can pull it all together as one.
And when is the 45-day period again?
It's February 22nd, I believe, but we should give it to them. I'm trying to have everything ready for the workshop, okay? That's all I have here.
Very good.
Thank you. Okay, next we're moving on is to the executive session resolution, which is 2019-50.
So moved.
Second.
Vote?
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Iris?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carries. We're in executive session.
This should be a quick one, and then we're gonna come out and finish the rest of the agenda.
So everybody's got to leave?
Yeah, like no more abstaining, huh?
They did that, didn't they,
I
Gene?
just did it.
Mike, no more abstaining.
That's what I learned from President Obama.
President, that's right.
Can I vote president? President.
You can vote, President.
Well, you vote any way you want. Whatever you want. You know, like to stop it.
Mayor, back on the record.
Anarchy.
Okay, lights on.
Mike's dead.
Now it's not this. Okay, so we're back in open session, and the first thing we have is the first reading of an ordinance, and that's number 11, an ordinance to authorize a financial agreement in lieu of taxes for Oceanport Gardens Renewal Project. Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jeannie, I'd like to call for the introduction of an ordinance to authorize a financial agreement for Oceanport Gardens Renewal Project. Would you please read the proposed ordinance by title only?
An ordinance of the Borough of Oceanport to approve the tax exemption and authorize the exemption and authorize the execution of a financial agreement between the Borough of Oceanport and Oceanport Urban Renewal Preservation LP.
At this point, I'd like to make a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading and to hold a public hearing on the proposed ordinance at the council meeting of
February 22nd.
First?
21st.
24th.
21.
Thank you. And to advertise same in accordance with law.
Second.
Okay. And on the motion?
So moved.
I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Councilman Deeren?
Yes.
Councilman Gallo?
Yes.
Councilman Iris?
Yes.
Councilman O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilman Proto?
Yes.
Council President Solon?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Rob, great job on getting us finally to the finish line here.
Thank you.
Getting to borrow some extra money, which is great.
We've got committee reports, Councilman Deeren, Parks and Recreation Liaison.
Thank you, Mayor. Pretty quick, as far as the park's concerned, we've gotten all the tree work done, and way under budget. We also have got the fence, estimates, and again, they are also kind of under budget. So moving forward, we should be getting that, I would think, we say like March, get some of that work done. And we're in the process of getting still numbers for the basketball courts, and the tennis courts. The parks are looking good. GP, the Public Works Department came and did a lot of work at Evergreen the other day, trimming it up. Moving forward, it's getting there. And that's all I got.
Councilman Gallo, Public Works and Engineering.
Yeah, just like to report, Public Works is ready for any snow situation. Hopefully tonight is just rain. And then for the weekend, we'll have to keep an eye on it. But they're all ready to go. We got the salt ready and plows are ready and the mesh set up. So we'll be ready for that. And the other is just a reminder that our recycling center will be closing at the end of the month. So clean out your garages, get everything in there before we close. We close after that. And also on the Oceanport page, somebody asked about putting out junk mail and papers like that. You can put it out to your curbside, so that can go out to the curb. And that's all I have.
And it goes out with regular papers.
They're regular, yes.
One thing I forgot to mention in the Rex Committee, we still are in need of volunteers. We're down 2. We would like to see some younger people get involved. People that have skin in the game, as you say. Because the committee is a little older, and they've all made that pretty clear to me that we need some help in that area. So if you have anybody you can recommend, or anybody would like to give it a shot, let us know, please.
Councilman Iris, Finance and Administration.
Thank you, Mayor. We've been meeting, Finance Administration Committee has been meeting with prospective developers at Fort Monmouth. Meetings have been interesting, it's eye-opening. Some things that we're working through. You're going to see Amendment 13, which, as Jeannie mentioned earlier, has been distributed. It's going to be right behind that, Amendment 14. They're going to change the plan and try to do some things in Oceanport. There's some things in there we like. There's some other things in there that have changed from when we originally met. We'll hear more about them as we go forward. There's some things that we don't like. So we'll be working through that. We've also, our CFO Katie and our VA Donna have been starting the budget process. Been in contact with them more than a few times to discuss where the numbers are and where we're going to be. And everybody, all the department heads and all the volunteers have put in their capital requirements, and we'll be meeting shortly to go over those. And we have a meeting Wednesday scheduled with our auditor to start sitting down with him. And the only other thing is the purse subsidies for Monmouth Park Racetrack have been held up in the Assembly. It's been passed unanimously in the Senate. It's got verbal support from the governor, but the Assembly Speaker is not fully on board yet. So the Assembly Speaker controls what comes up for a vote. So as of yesterday, there's still no date set on when that'll come up for vote. But Monmouth has been holding off on picking when they're going to do their dates. They were talking about running some kind of an elite meet from the beginning of the year up until Haskell Day, where the purses would be higher and then level off after Haskell Day. So you kind of bring in more trainers, more horses, better quality of horses. But everything's on hold until they find out what their final numbers are going to be. So then we'll find out what the days are and all these things. So that's where we are at Monmouth Park. That's all I have to say.
And with the Monmouth Park situation, if we get that, we're on par with the states that are around us. So I don't understand at all why they are so hesitant to restore horse racing, which in New Jersey was better than the states around us for 20, 30 years. This seems like a no-brainer. It's got support. We've got one of the most historic racetracks in ours, and Meadowlands is the biggest racetrack around. It just doesn't make sense.
And this is bipartisan. It passed the Senate unanimously. How many things passed the Senate unanimously?
Maybe a pledge to the flag, that's about it, yeah.
So,
Councilman O'Brien, Health and Human Services.
I have one brief note. We recently received a report from the SPCA on their responses last year. They had 31 responses to calls from borough residents, ranging from loose and trapped animals to injured or dead animals. This is a function that the SPCA provides at no cost to us. An organization that requires donations, so there's a multitude of ways that you can donate money, time. If you need more information on that, contact the SPCA, MonmouthCountySPCA.org. That's all I have to say.
We've all been wondering what's your position on chickens.
Chickens,
Stay away from that.
Friday.
I'll let you know in about 2 hours.
That's where you should say abstain. Councilman Proto, Planning and Development.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't object, I'd like to ask that Council President Solon go first, since that my report might be a bit lengthy.
All right, Council President Sol.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple things. First of all, just want to make an announcement about charitable basketball game coming up between the Oceanport PBA and the Shining Stars Ambassadors, benefiting all the special needs communities that are out there. That basketball tournament, or game I should say, is going to take place Saturday, February 2nd at 7 p.m. here at Maple Place School. So please, everyone, try to make it. It's a great time, great event. I also did receive from Chief Kelly a synopsis of all the calls for 2018. I did send out a post about it. Kind of hard to believe, but 11,548 calls last year were answered by Oceanport Police Department. That's making contact with residents and persons within the borough 30 times a day is what that averages out to. So great work, tedious work, but I'd just like to extend a thanks to Chief Kelly and the entirety of the Oceanport Police Department. Thank you very much.
And then Councilman Proto, Planning and Development.
Council President's done yet.
I'm not done.
Wow. Not quite. A couple things. I'll keep it short then. Fire department, first aid, of course, always looking for volunteers. Thank you very much, Donna, for work on the generator, getting that squared away. I know you appreciate that.
One less thing I can bother you about, huh?
Right, exactly. Also like to say, we've been going throughout the borough, and Donna, actually not even with the help of Donna, spearheaded by Donna, working through the replacement and updating of our AED devices in all of our borough buildings. Police departments, AEDs, we also have one at Blackberry Bay, we have one at the library, we have one at Borough Hall, did I miss anywhere? Public Works,
Oh, Portland.
and Fort Tech as well. So those batteries, pads, everything has been updated, or we're in the process of finishing
I'm
that.
just waiting for an order for the firehouse in Borough Hall.
Perfect.
Blackberry Bay and the library. It's done.
Perfect. So very shortly, that will all be completed, and we'll be back up to where we need to be. So thank you very much, Don, for that. But beyond that is the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Proto.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start with some information for everyone on the ordinance we just passed regarding Oceanport Gardens, since this was the subject of a recent news article and much back and forth on social media. The passing of this ordinance, what it does for the borough of Oceanport and what it does for the seniors and disabled living in that apartment building right now is it benefits all of us, and it benefits us greatly. What we were able to negotiate with the buyer was what they're seeking was an extension of a pilot period. There were 9 years remaining on the current pilot. They were seeking an extension of 11 years. So they will start a 20-year pilot program once they close on the property. What they're going to do is invest approximately $3.5 million into upgrades into each apartment, into the common areas, the facade, mechanicals, and it will greatly increase the quality of living, I'm assuming, for those residents. And what it does for Oceanport is it secures affordable housing for those in most need, and it's going to provide us with a financial boost. We will be seeing an additional $200,000 in the first 2 years on top of what the pilot payments would ordinarily provide us. We will be seeing for the first 9 years a comparison what we would receive under the current program versus what we will over the first 9 years will be approximately $150,000 to $175,000. And then over the next 11 years, we'll receive on average, I think it begins about 85,000 and ends up at 100-something thousand a year. So it's a very good deal. The buyer has also graciously agreed to provide 2 electronic crosswalk signs for each side of East Main Street there, which will provide a great deal of increased safety for people crossing that crosswalk. And that's something that we push for, and to their credit, they complied with us. So it's really a very, very good deal for the town and for the residents. And we maintain our right to seek credit towards our affordable obligation in future rounds with our fair share housing. So it's a win-win-win. It's a great deal. It took us several months. It took nearly a year, Mr. Mayor, since we
Since we first
about a year
approached,
since we
yeah.
first met with them.
No, it is a tremendous coup for the town.
Next note, I'd like to give an update on the Borough Hall project. 2 months ago, the planning committee took the lead on this project along with our department heads, Jeannie, Donna, Katie. This past November, council was given the first presentation by our architect in nearly 2 years after being stonewalled by our previous administrator for information. At that point, council, fair to say, was shocked to learn that the project was millions of dollars over budget from what was originally authorized to be spent. We held several meetings since then with the architect and made significant changes in order to bring the total cost of the project back down to the originally authorized amount of $11 million. The biggest change was the decision to cancel the proposed rec center building. Last week, the architect informed the borough that he and his subcontractors are owed an additional $100,000 in fees. I asked for documentation, received it. The mayor planned a meeting, which was held this last Tuesday, between the architect, myself, the mayor, Donna, Jeannie, and Katie. Upon looking through some of the emails exchanged between the architect and our previous administrator, and during our meeting with the architect, it became clear that our previous administrator was aware in the summer of 2017 that the project was more than $1 million over budget at that time. Instead of informing the mayor and any member of council, he continued to run up the meter by asking for additional studies and scope changes, and increased the architect's fees by not providing information in a timely manner. This is confirmed by the architect's discussion with us and by several emails, which we are all, I think, in possession of at this point. I believe, in my estimates, his actions cost the borough at least $250,000 in added expenses. As cost projections spiraled out of control, his response was to look for ways to move as many items out of the construction cost column. These are known as exclusions. He treated these as off-budget items. So basically, we had a construction budget and other expenses that were going to take place, they were trying to move out of that budget, worrying about how to pay them in a different way at a different time in order to keep the $11 million budget on target. These exclusions still have to be paid for somehow by the taxpayers, mind you. During the past year, our former BA was repeatedly asked by myself and others sitting up here, both at public meetings and in private, for updates on the Borough Hall project. His stock answer was, we are waiting on the utilities. At no point in nearly 1.5 years did he make the mayor or council aware that we were millions over budget. There are over 1,000 emails between the BA and the architect during this period. And nobody sitting up here, from what I can see, going through them, was copied on a single one of them. When a majority of council decided to fire our former BA several months ago, it was because we lost confidence in him and felt he wasn't competent enough to be Oceanport's BA. We made that very clear. We did not have reason at the time, reason enough, to fire him for cause. I believe these recent findings change that. I'm requesting that our attorney take whatever legal steps necessary to change the reason officially for his termination to be for cause, and to attempt to claw back any severance that was paid to him. I believe there is evidence his actions rose from a level of incompetence to one of willful and deliberate deception. I have no doubt that his concealment of pertinent information was intentional and unnecessarily cost the borough a great deal of time and money. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's time for my report.
That's it for my report.
Okay.
You have no comment on that, Mayor?
I'm gonna not put myself in front of a bus, and I'm not gonna comment on it.
We're gonna just let this go, as that was okay. I mean, I'm outraged by this. You can see by my face I'm outraged by this. We were eviscerated up here. The taxpayers were told everything was fine, and now we're in a boat where we're 100,000 plus, and we don't know where we are.
Let me tell you something, Joe.
I want to know the answers.
All right, here's the answers. This is a strong council, right?
We've tried that, yes.
Okay, and right now the council's large and in charge, correct?
Trying, we're
Okay.
trying to, yeah.
You're not getting any impediment at this juncture, are you?
Not that we're aware, no.
Okay, since 2016, it's been the same form of government.
Correct.
Correct. You have the ability to call finance committee meetings during that period of time? And we're just
Yeah.
discussing between boards,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Was a meeting called?
On this specific
Yes.
topic, no, we've asked publicly, Jay. Come on, don't lawyer me, Jay. I don't want to be
I'm
lawyer.
not lawyering
No,
you, Joe.
let's have a
You
real
can't-
conversation.
let's have
You're
a
not
conversation.
upset by this. You think
I-
that is fine. You think
I am
everything that was
upset
done
by
was
this.
fine.
I
You're
am
upset
upset.
by it? That's all I wanted to hear. You were going to skip over it like it wasn't even a big
No,
deal.
no.
Jay, I'm upset by this. I was eviscerated that we got rid of a guy who was above and beyond reproach and did a great job and was the best thing that ever happened to Oceanport, and you hung us, and we had a personal relationship, Jay. You hung us out to dry, and you said, I believe, that personally you took offense to what was done.
I did take offense to it.
And do you still take offense to that?
I will have to readjust my
Okay.
view of it, once I've read 1,059 emails.
1,059 emails should be enough of an issue to know why wasn't one member
Well,
of this governing
let
body.
me tell you we're the Blanche Dubois of municipalities. We rely on the kindness of others. We have two buildings that we're in. One is for $1, we've had for 7 years now, our police department there. And the second is the senior building, which we've been since 2012, that we essentially don't have the right to. We've had it extended through March. We had the opportunity to buy property. I was the guy that accepted the deed for the fort after being the Abort the Fort guy. Was a pretty amazing thing. But for 3 years at least, nothing was done about trying to mitigate the problems that we were having. I become mayor, I'm with you sitting up here, we're full load to go. We are flying through this thing, raise rate, raise rate, raise rate, raise rate, raise not rate. And that's what happened. Ray was fantastic until he wasn't fantastic. Bennett was fantastic until Bennett wasn't
No,
fantastic.
Jay, let's be honest. Ray was fantastic until we got to the budget. And then Ray did what he did with this. He took it, ran with it, and said, this is it. If you don't like it, I'm right, you're wrong. It's the same thing he did with this.
I'm gonna stop commenting on this in a public forum now, because I think we're putting ourselves in harm's way.
Well, I think the truth is always the ultimate defense, Jay.
Well, but when you have a trial about something like that, the other side gets to ask questions too.
I agree. I'm just saying, I am very upset that this is coming up now, and you didn't know any of this.
In September of 2000,
We've been on the budget for a year and a half, and no one's known about it. You agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay, that's all I want to hear. Go ahead, you can have your report.
I can, thank you, Joe, for your beneficence. Well, on a good note, we're having the charity basketball game that Steve referenced before, with the Shining Stars. 2 months ago, maybe a little more than that, there was a game between the Shining Stars and the Jockeys from Monmouth Park. And everybody was at that event. I think we're all here, except for maybe you, Michael. And I think we'll all agree that was an amazing, amazing night. The kids play like we can't believe that they're out there. It means a lot to them. That they're at various levels of being mentally or physically challenged, and every kid lays his heart and soul out on the court. They beat the Jockeys by what, Joe?
2 points, 3 points?
2 to 3 points, and the Jockeys were playing. Fair estimation?
Yes.
Yeah, no, they were.
They were playing hard. The Cops are gonna get beat by 30.
They didn't cover.
That's what I'm saying there.
I've warned them, because they lost to the 8th grade basketball team, I think, this past year. So they're gonna beat by
30.
No, you lost by a couple of them.
I didn't play that game.
These guys will beat you by 30. They've got kids that can get up over the rim. And,
Saw them on YouTube.
yeah, no, they're good.
They're good.
You better bring your A game. And I'm gonna start.
And some ringers.
It's a $5 admission. It's at 7 p.m. At Maple Place, and the place should be packed for that. It was, of all the things I've done in 20 years. or so-
Mayor reft.
Yeah,
They're not gonna street
they,
pussy.
they,
Good
right
ref.
before the game started, they said we don't have a ref, so I had to ref the thing, and I couldn't walk for 3 days. And these guys were, they were dead serious. There was, I refed in a suit for the first time. Yeah. So this is gonna have real refs this time, and it's $5 to get in. We're gonna post some stuff on Facebook. We should have a packed house that night. It's an unbelievable game. You watch these kids play, they're dead serious, and we had a
And they're pretty good, and they're really good. It's not a joke, they're good.
Right, and there are sponsor opportunities, $1,000 for signage behind the team benches, $500 signage behind the baskets. Court sponsors are $250, and a program sponsor in the program is $125. Mike Kersey from the track is one of the prime movers on this. They're a 501c3, so this is a tax deductible donation if you go and you sponsor something. It is an absolute, it was the nicest thing I've ever been involved with in youth sports. It was amazing. And that's on February 7th. On a side note, Rick Long, who's usually here to take care of us, is having heart surgery today. He went in today, so let's everybody take a little second for a prayer for him. He should be okay. It was planned, it was scheduled, but he's going to be out for a week or so while he recovers. With respect to where we stand with the municipal building and the sacrifice that we had to make as far as the rec center is concerned. The rec center is something that wasn't necessary for the operation of the borough, but it would have been a nice have if we could have had that. But taking that away saved us about $2.5 million, whether we did it now or a year and a half ago. I think that thing was not going to make the final cut. I'm the rec guy. I would have loved to have had a 10,000 square foot building. In 10 years from now, somebody's going to say, why didn't we keep that building? But the fact is, we didn't have enough money. I don't want 10 years from now for people to say, why did those idiots knock that building down? The reason it's going to come down is because we can't afford to maintain it, and even if we wanted to, within our budget construct. I am upset about the fact that we're over budget, but I'm not going to sit here and put myself in harm's way with respect to a potential lawsuit. Enough said about that. I know that we've got a storm situation coming up. Ricky says we're all set, ready to roll, and historically we've been fantastic as far as removing snow and ice, and I don't expect anything to change for these events if they come to fruition.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, are you finished?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good.
I'm sorry. I thought you were
No, good.
stopping. Just with what you said, just at one point of contention regarding the rec center, whether it was done a year and a half ago or now. If it was done a year and a half ago, or a year ago, or 8 months ago, we could have saved a significant amount of money.
I agree, on the professional
Our
fees.
architect himself, he said the borough paid him over $100,000 to design a building we are now in a position of having to knock down. And it was known a year and a half ago that that building was in the $2 million range. And studies continue to be asked definitive. So I just want to make that point.
Changes of design too.
I agree with you that, you know, it would have been nice, we don't have the money, but to phrase it as if it wouldn't have mattered when we did it.
I didn't say it didn't matter.
Or now.
I didn't say it didn't matter. What I said was, at that time or at this time, we can't afford to have it. And it's a shame,
We
but
would have had
that's-
$100,000 more.
That's a different story.
Thank you.
Got nothing further? Anybody, we now move on to our favorite part of the show, which is requests from the public or comments from the public. So if anybody wants to come up and say anything, come on up, grab the microphone, give your name and address.
40 Itasca Place, Mark Patterson. I made a promise to my wife I wouldn't come up here and talk tonight, so no one tell her. Maybe shut off that, maybe shut off that camera too.
It won't play for a couple of days, so you've got some.
Oh, it's going up to some planning to do.
Tell her it was a past meeting.
Just start passing out envelopes now, maybe. In the beginning of the year and towards the end of the last year, many of you guys, and I'm only going to touch on this briefly because it came up, and his name is like Voldemort now, so I tend not to try to say it. You guys made a point that you wanted the healing process. You know, everything was over and you wanted the healing process. I didn't see the healing process tonight. I saw you guys further ostracize Patty Cooper, and you might have a reason, and I'm not asking for the reason. And then I saw this whole Ray thing, and I have no opinion on it because I don't know enough about it. However, you guys made, from what I understand, you made a deal. And at the time that the deal was made, you were happy with the deal. And now new information is found, and you're taking it personal, and you want to go back. You want to go back on your deal is what it sounds like. And again, I don't know enough about it.
Every taxpayer should take
Listen,
that.
I just want to say what I want to say, and then if you want to comment, you can comment. You're talking about the taxpayer. That's good that you brought that up. Should you decide to take this deal back, I would imagine it's going to cost the taxpayers some money in the form of legal costs. Not to mention what legal costs might be associated with the fact of the can of worms you guys already opened, which is, again, is neither here nor there. And that, I'd be saying, by the ostracation of him through Facebook. And he's got a life, you got a life. The man needs to get into the job. You know, you don't want to be detrimental to his character, and that's I feel like that's what you're bordering on. And I'm not saying you don't have evidence. What I'm saying is let the healing process begin and let bygones be bygones. Don't let your egos and attitudes get in the way of what.
So what you're saying is that when information is uncovered.
I'm saying why we taxpayers
You
don't
have to
get
state
it.
it, I mean, if you don't mind. If this body, your elected officials, uncover information that we should keep it to ourselves and not inform the taxpayers of this borough for fear of further ostracizing one individual?
That's not what I said. That is not what I said.
That is what you said.
No, it's not. I
That is what you
said, I said prevent legal costs. You guys, like I said, you were happy with the deal you made. You made the deal.
No, we weren't. What deal?
You made a deal.
What deal? You're talking about
What
the
deal?
severance deal?
Yeah.
We weren't happy with
Well, you made the deal.
That was contractual.
that.
That was
That's
contractual.
Okay.
Statutory, actually statutory, yeah.
The deal didn't have to be made.
So if, hypothetically, if this information was known months ago, and council had the opportunity, a majority of council, it's not a unanimous vote, we all know that.
Right.
A majority of council had enough to fire an individual for cause,
Mhm.
preventing him from taking additional taxpayers' money, we would have done that, and I think people
Absolutely.
would have expected us to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay? So, if this never came to light, if.
But now
the
you want to
architect-
go back and
the-
spend the
no.
money in legal fees to now go ahead and do
Well, I'm
it.
not going to let an individual, me personally, I'm one vote, but
Right.
I'm not going to be content with letting an individual do what I feel, in my opinion, from what I've read and from the meetings I've had.
Right.
Take actions in detrimental to the borough and sit back and just allow them to take our money and walk away. It's my money as much as yours.
Absolutely. However, there's two sides to every story, and I'm sure he'll have a lawyer just as we'll have a lawyer, and I'm sure this will be
I have
tied up in
emails.
how far do you want to push
Okay.
this and spend on this over
And
ego
we'll
and
make that
attitude.
decision at the.
However, I'm done with that point.
Thank you.
Just quickly on Channel 28.
Piece of equipment is currently not working, exploring ways to get that. Tonight's meeting is being recorded, and it's actually going to be broadcast via what is going to be Ocean Port's YouTube channel.
Okay. Very good. I forgot something, but I'm already in
It'll be
trouble.
better.
Thank you, guys.
I'm sure I'll bring it up.
Joe Folks, 60 Pemberton Avenue. What an entertaining meeting this is tonight. I wasn't going to come. I have a question, but I'm not going to put it in a question form. And I got this, Jack. This lynch mob mentality of our BA, regardless of whatever you guys say he did that was unscrupulous. I remind you guys, because now you're all, I'll use the term boys club because you're all men here. You guys were on watch when all these accusations happened, weren't you? I think you were. So you guys own it as well. So I wouldn't play pin the tail on the donkey because the people are watching, okay? Next, we'll go with what's fresh. Channel 28. I think it's a serious conflict of interest that one of our councilmen is running the media channel for the town. I think that should be done.
I don't run it.
Jeff,
Verizon
Jeff,
runs
he
it.
doesn't run it.
Run it, excuse me, he's the liaison, whatever the proper term
He's
is.
the only guy who knows how to turn it on.
He just answered questions. He just answered questions. Didn't you just answer questions about it?
Yeah, but Jeff, to be fair, it's not a it was Patty, it was me for a while.
When it went out, Steve was fielding questions
But to
in the
call it
media. That's what he did.
to call
He
it
did it.
comments-
I'll go bring in the snapshots, the
He's
photos.
acting as a.
He's essentially
Yes,
doing the
and
right
when
thing.
there's a problem with the feed, like there was in the 1 week that it was missing, it comes back on one of our councilmen, he's gotta field the questions, that's my point, that's all, I don't want you
It's
to
not,
respond, you don't have
it's not a conflict.
to. Okay. Conflict of interest is a matter of opinion as well, Mayor. Think that's funny?
No.
You guys are making a mess of this town. I don't think anything's funny. Now, let's get back to the Post, Mr. Solon. You said before, and I forget what was actually in the Post, and it really doesn't matter. Where'd you post that at? That message that you were claiming you posted somewhere on Facebook. Where'd you post that?
Which one?
I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter. It was the post that you were referring to with whatever the business was here. I forget what it was. I think it may have been a post about the seniors building.
I didn't make any post about senior building.
All right, we can go back on the record and we'll pick it up next week. You made a statement tonight that you posted something on Facebook. The police department.
Police record, the police numbers?
Yes, that's exactly what it was, the police numbers. Where'd you post that?
That was posted, it was on the residence page and also a personal post.
Right. So you're not interested in reaching the whole borough when you make your announcements from your council seat?
That's what I do here.
Right. So you don't see any relevance in when you do your Facebook posting to Oceanport residents that you can't post to unedited Oceanport residents, which you are a member of, and I asked you to do that? You
How
can't
did I
do
become
that?
a member of that, Jeff?
I think you are.
How did I become a member of that?
I accepted you.
I never made a request. How did I become a member?
Somebody else did. Well,
Oh, okay.
it's a moot point. You're on there. You can't drop a message?
I am on it.
Yeah, you are there. Yeah, you're on
Can you
there.
take me off of that?
Huh?
Can you take me off?
No, I can't. I wouldn't do that. That's your problem.
So, just like a town
You
crier
joined.
in the middle of Oceanport, if the town crier was out there, but you weren't there that day, I'm sure somebody else told you about it, right?
That's not my point. My point is, if you're gonna make a public message from your seat, and you're gonna put it on Oceanport residents or anybody else's private page, at least have the courtesy to put it on the Oceanport resident, or the Oceanport's governmental Facebook page. There hasn't been a post on there in 3 years. You know, and the games you guys play, Patty Cooper, Water Watch Committee, you guys can't get over that? You guys can't get over that? You guys own everything. You guys don't discuss anything. There's no, if I don't come up here and yell at you guys are gonna do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. We do whatever we want, right?
Yeah, you
It's
do.
amazing. We just had an argument up here. I guess we discussed it.
No, you argue with the mayor.
Oh, so it's okay to argue with the mayor, but I can't argue with anybody else? I don't
Good
think
thing
we
we
want-
have you, Jeff, to yell at us and keep us in line.
Well, yeah, well, it's what you do. You hurt people.
We
Hurt people, yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Apparently.
you take medicine away from children.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go, yeah, no, here we go.
Jeff, you say
Here
the
we
same thing
go.
over and
Listen,
over.
stop interrupting
It
me.
does not make it
Don't
true.
interrupt me.
Oh,
You don't have to speak
Put
over
me
me
on
when
your
I have the
page. Put
microphone.
me on your page again and say, look what Councilman Iris did. I see it, Jeff, I hear it.
Jeff,
Go ahead, zoom in, zoom in. Councilman Iris.
a public meeting.
I know what it
There's
is.
camera here, I know you don't like the First
Oh, it
Amendment.
does not bother me.
Guys, this is a public comment.
Just know you can get it back as well as you get.
Yeah, that's fine too, I don't have a
Yeah,
problem with
it's
that,
fine.
just like you guys can fight, I can yell at you too,
Yeah,
you're my
you can get it back.
representative.
All right, Jeff,
Get it
Yeah, let's
back.
keep going.
Jeffrey,
Can we limit this? Mr.
limit, direct your comments at me.
I got in trouble for doing that at another council meeting,
Well,
because I didn't
I'm
address the
telling
whole
you, as
council.
the guy that's running the meeting, I'm telling you, direct it.
Patty Cooper, you guys can't get over that? You can't put her on the Water Watch Committee? I know what the Water Watch Committee is. I've seen the two guys that did it a few years ago. They walk around with a little sample vial and take samples of the water and give it to the EPA.
You know we have
DEP.
procedures for how to do it? We
Of
have
course there is, but why would you not
I'm gonna
want Patty,
explain to you
who's
how
gonna
the
do
procedure
it?
works.
Who's gonna do it
We
now?
never advertised, we never asked. We go-
Okay, well, who's gonna do it? If Patty
No, we
Cooper?
didn't put the- we didn't put
Okay,
it up
I'll
on
do
the
it, I'll do it. You don't
Yeah.
want Patty to do
We
it.
go on to, we didn't say we didn't want Patty.
You just, it was,
I didn't vote on it. I
Wasn't-
didn't have a vote. I didn't
Vote
vote.
on it.
There was no vote.
There was no vote.
there was no second.
There was
No,
no.
I can't help you with a
What?
second. I mean, I didn't vote.
Did I miss that tonight?
There was no second.
There was no
Motion,
second.
There was no second.
There
There was a motion, but there was no
But
second.
Jeff, we have a policy.
Correct.
When
There was a motion,
when
no
committee.
second.
Right, you guys couldn't second, you couldn't second a motion and put her on the Water Watch
When
Committee.
committee-
Isn't that what happened here? Correct me if I'm
I'm
wrong.
trying to correct you, you don't want to hear. When committee vacancies come up,
I'm talking to 6 people, so.
okay,
or
when
wait.
committee vacancies come up, they're announced up here that if there's a committee vacancy, as Billy did today with the rec committee. It's posted on the borough website, and we have a page, what's it called, the, call to service. And people go up there and put, did we go through the call to service to go through Water Watch to see if there were people on the list? I know a person who's asked me for 2 years why they're not on the Water Watch committee.
So who's doing it?
This is the first time we heard of a vacancy. I didn't know there was a vacancy on the Water Watch committee.
Then why don't you put Patty Cooper on and be done with it?
We just told you, you're not following our procedures. Our procedures are, we announce it, we advertise for it, and then they fix it.
All right. Let's get down to the, phone book. Dare. What exactly are we gonna do with that policy?
What? What? What policy?
Subheading, drug awareness, this is with Mike's package that he wrote up. Drug awareness and resistance education of school drug and alcohol education officer. What, we're gonna keep teaching kids their policy in school, is that what this is?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
And what
Right.
is,
Yeah.
what exactly is in that curriculum?
You talk to the police chief. I have no problem with him answering that question if he's here.
You want me to do this, Rose? I'll just explain real quick. We're gonna be, Mike Kelly, Police Chief. We're gonna be utilizing a modified version of that. It's basically more towards wise decision-making with the bullying stuff. Yes, the drug and alcohol aspect, but it's a deviation of DARE. You have 2 different models now. The DARE program has moved away from its old, what it was about 15 years ago. Has a different drug education model, but in essence, we're gonna keep that same program within the school. I have 2 DARE officers that have been trained, and like I said, it's more gonna be towards the education and instilling wise decision-making, which encompasses not only drug and alcohol, but everything else.
I guess which drugs?
Yeah, all categories, all categories.
Cannabis, that's what I'm talking about.
That's one of the categories, yeah.
I do have some major concerns about cannabis being included in that category with nicotine, beer, alcohol, all the other drugs, illicit drugs or prescription drugs. I went through this in Wall Township last week. I attended a prohibition rally is what it is, where they, in an education facility, no less, we're supposed to teach the kids the truth and science, and they brought in Kevin Sabat, who is a prohibitionist for Big Pharma, and we're gonna do the same thing here by introducing to the kids the dangers of cannabis, like we just did with the murderer here a few weeks ago. And Wall did the same thing, they lied to their kids, and we're gonna continue to lie here, we're gonna keep bringing drug folks in to embarrass the children that are in the New Jersey medical marijuana program that are in the school, or could be in the school. That's not right. We're demonizing the answer to the opioid crisis, and not only that, it's going to be in the legislation. You guys all know it. And I'll say it again, you guys are sitting on your hands, and there's people dying, and I got assaulted because I tried to enter this meeting to be heard on this. Because no one cares. There's 40,000 people in the program, that's in the medical program, that stay off of opioids, and people like myself that are in the program come out and talk to you folks. We get poo-pooed and laughed at, and we hold the answer to, or a good part of the answer to the addiction problem. And here, we're going to bring in curriculum that's going to lie to the next generation and demonize cannabis. You want to talk about recreational cannabis? Fine. You want to talk about vapes? Fine. But you're leaving the conversation out about educating the children on the science of the plant, the potential of it, and the health and the treatment that it provides for children. Children can be in the program. And to demonize the program without addressing it scientifically is a disrespect to the disabled and the sick. It disgusts me. And you guys need to do better.
Anyone else wish to take the microphone?
Roseanne Letson, 37 Morse Place. I just have a really quick question about the senior building and the new purchaser. Does this always stay a senior building? It doesn't matter who buys it? It's not like these guys can dump money into it and turn it into something else?
Not the next 20 years.
In fact, this pretty much guarantees it's going to stay that way for the next 20 years.
Okay.
If we were to let it go, it could have been 9
Yeah,
years.
it got marked.
Really?
Yeah, well, the big concern is when the long-term tax exemption expires, that there's no longer a reason to have below market rentals in there.
So they could have come in and put high-end condos or
Right.
whatever?
Or they could just do something
Who knows?
not well, if they don't put money into it. What this is gonna do is it's gonna increase the value of the property because they're gonna improve the apartments that are in there. And you're concerned when you're coming to the last 5 or 6 years of these LTDs, that if the owner isn't investing in the property and making it, keeping it a nice place to live, that at the end, you have a less than stellar product to be offered. And that's
That's what you're more concerned about.
that's not a return to a big money maker. If they turn it into the Admiralty, that would probably be a good deal tax-wise for us, a bad deal for the seniors who need a place to live. But that's really not what our
Is it
concern
a
was.
deed restricted property?
It's not a deed, well, technically, because of this, it will deed restrict itself, yes.
For 20 years?
It's now deed restricted. It's a restricted property, right, but it's not in the deed. Right, but.
We also found out it's not a senior building.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, you can't call it senior building. It's actually disabled in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to be 55?
No,
No.
if you're disabled,
It's a low income.
it's low income.
Low income, but the focus has been elderly and disabled.
It's over 90%.
Right.
Correct.
But it's, what do they call it, moderate? It's based on your income, right? It's
Yeah.
not
I think it's low. It's
low,
low
it's
income.
low
And-
income, really?
Yeah, and essentially they're looking for, they've got a niche market, and if they have seniors in there, they take care of the place better, they don't do as much damage, there's not any parties or anything, so it's easier to maintain and manage with seniors there, so that's a
I thought it
market.
was only seniors. All
Yeah,
this
we-
time I
so
thought
do
it was
we.
only seniors.
So we got
I
involved.
will say that one of the important factors for me to spend so much time like this as I did for a year was the quality of the developer. This is a world-renowned,
Yeah.
world-class developer.
Developer.
Yeah.
That's doing this, and they have an affordable entity, and it's not some fly-by-night, somebody's gonna come in and slap some paint on the wall, and put up some cheap cabinets. These people are going to do real improvements, spend real money.
But the residents are still gonna be able to remain.
Yeah, they're gonna do it apartment by apartment.
They may have to move out for a day or two.
No, but you know what I mean.
No, it'll be the
Long
same
term.
residence.
Yeah.
Nobody's being dislocated.
No, it's
We're
let,
getting an upgrade in landlord essentially,
yeah.
who's gonna then make the place nicer to live in, and the exterior of the building will.
That still has to keep the rents affordable.
Correct.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what
That's
has.
the one thing that this does, is it keeps that property truly affordable.
Okay,
It really keeps it truly affordable for the people who need it the most.
okay.
And it's good for the revitalization. Downtown, you have that new building across the street, whatever, the Village Center, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and there's a contract on the building next to it, so hopefully somebody does that. It's a contract on the old Stapleton property for something there. So hopefully you start to see some growth, you know, which kind of make our downtown look a little nicer.
Good evening, Gary Bruno, 51 Dot Avenue. Like Mr. Patterson, I promised my wife I wouldn't speak tonight, but unlike Mr. Patterson, I have Comcast, not Fios. So I'm pretty certain she's not going to see it. Well, she doesn't really, she's not interested in this kind of stuff, so. My first question has to do with the rules and regulations for the police department. How long have we been working on these? How long have these been being?
Chief, do you know how long it is?
1 year. I presented it to the former PA about 1 year ago.
Okay.
Changes needed to be done approximately 10 years.
Okay. Ultimately, before they went on the website tonight, whose job would it have been to proofread?
Proofread the.
I went over it in detail with Mike and Donna to make.
All right, well.
We've got a 53-page.
I understand that, but I printed this at 6:30 tonight. And
Yell at the chief, Don, and the mayor for that.
I have, I'm not yelling, I'm just
No,
pointing
point it out to them.
Kind of like years ago when we passed a noise ordinance that said that homeowners couldn't cut their grass on Sundays because we boilerplated it from Spring Lake. 4.9.3 on page 34, although members of the police department, dispatchers, and records clerks are also included in the scope of the Borough of Ocean Creek Personnel Policy, Chapter 13. All rules and regulations which do not conflict with the above cited ordinance, 3 question marks, parentheses, what ordinance is cited above, 3 more question marks,
That's me.
will apply.
And you've also got the notated version, right?
No,
I think he does.
the public does not.
This was printed off the website tonight.
So that's not the
At
notated version.
8:30, excuse me, at 6:30 tonight before I came here.
Yeah, someone wasn't put it like that.
Okay. It says-
Question mark right
That's a question that I asked of that's 4.9.3.
And I just happened to be, as I was paging through, sitting
Where'd
over
you pull
there,
that?
off the website.
It's different than the one that was handed out to them.
Okay.
So
So,
somebody had to work.
and again, I
Word
printed
the
it
document.
at 6:30.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you want the document, if you want.
Okay, just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's what, no, you should, I mean, maybe that's what they have.
Jerry, what page are you looking at?
Page 34 of the rules and regulations.
The rules of.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at a paragraph that says, and on the 4th line down, it says,
This is given to me here.
which is, do not conflict with the above cited ordinance. I have question mark, what ordinance is cited above? Because there needs to be an ordinance cited above, will apply to the records clerk as well.
Yes, and as the attorney just said, I just have, one mistake I found just happened to page through it. So I didn't read them.
You're volunteering to proofread? Is that what I hear?
No, I have enough proofreading of my own rules and regulations to do that I don't need to do these also. I could boilerplate mine if you like, but I don't know that I would, copy everything over correctly.
4.9.3.
All right,
Well, that shows it's not a
Page
boilerplate.
117 of the package,
Okay, that's,
of the package.
of the package, okay. Thank you.
which 117 is a good number because that's my picture, so that's okay. My second point I wanted to make tonight is with regard to the new Borough Hall building. I've been up here before. I've lived here 20 years. I know there's people in the audience who've lived here a lot longer than that, but I've said this before, historically, and it's not just this council, it's historically this borough, penny pinches. I know we're over budget.
It's a lot of pennies.
I understand, but the old Borough Hall building was abysmal before Sandy. because we didn't put money in the police department.
Are you
At least
referring to penny pinching on the rec center?
No, I'm talking, no, I'm not talking about the rec center.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the project in Norton South.
Well, where are we penny pinching?
I'll get to it, I know I'm a little long-winded. I've sat in meetings here, I've heard the $11 million, I've also heard comments made from the dais that we're not gonna spend that. Quite honestly, and this is just my opinion, not that I wanna spend any more of my tax dollars, because I do pay a lot of dollars, but we do have a lot of crumbling infrastructure. And we're not the only ones. I'm not saying Oceanport's the only ones, but historically, in the 20 years, is there any thought process to doing it right the first time, knock the other two buildings down and build one building new that will last us, it's gonna last us 50 years. We're gonna piecemeal these buildings. I'm so afraid we're gonna piecemeal these government buildings that when we start really tearing them apart, we're gonna find other problems and they're not gonna get done. And we have a growing, we're a growing town. We still don't know what's gonna happen in Fort Monmouth. You guys are still having problems with what's going on there. We don't know what's coming. We don't know how many borough employees we're gonna have. We don't know how many police officers we're gonna need. And if we don't do this right from the start, this could cost us more in the future. I understand it's a large cost, but penny wise, pound for penny.
If we were to build this new, we're talking about $20 million.
I understand that.
Probably more than that with the jail, So,
I-
and again, what I said before was true. To think that I'm the guy that took the deed is ridiculous, given where I was 7 years ago on this thing.
But-
And we got 13.25 acres for $1,053,000. We have essentially 40,000 square feet of building space available to us, and we determined that we can't carry that kind, and you know, it'd be great, and Rob and I talked about this today, it'd be great if we could have these things sitting there and 10 years from now, use that 10,000 square foot building. It'd be fantastic, but there's a carrying cost associated with that.
No, I understand that, and the rec, listen, I agree with you, the rec center would be great, but a rec center is, it's a luxury.
It's a luxury.
It's a luxury.
Right.
A borough hall is not a luxury.
Correct.
And the concern again I have is that we're gonna spend $11 million now, and 10 years from now, we're gonna be outspaced, we're gonna have to spend another 11 million or 15
We have so
million.
much space there that we can't fill it. We
We
have
can't-
half a
we still-
building
we still have
that's being used as
10,000
storage.
And this building,
In the police
and
building.
these buildings, we know structurally are okay, we're not gonna run into a situation
State
where
police was operating the one.
was state police, listen, I was in that building when the state police was there, that building was decrepit when the state police were in it, was decrepit when Fort Monmouth police were in it. There was, the government didn't do really anything to that building, those cells were antiquated,
But our-
the paneling in the office, I think, was from the 60s in the offices, so,
All coming out.
yeah, it was, I mean,
We can save it for you.
no.
We'll throw a coat of paint on it, it'll be fine.
Well, but, you know,
No,
and that's what I'm not trying to be
No, no,
funny,
and I
that's
don't-
my fears, we're gonna
Gary-
put lipstick on a pig.
I've been up here for 10 years, and I agree 1,000%, it's been done. I invite you to look at the plans. Are they public yet? What we-
The only plans I've ever seen are the plans that were
Well,
presented
other
here.
than
And
knocking
no one's
down
recent up until the
the
last couple weeks.
rec center
We're on
and
that
some
front.
small changes to the two buildings that are left, it's pretty much the same plan.
And it's gonna be nice, I mean.
And we know from now dealing with the architect that these buildings, we're not gonna be finding other things as we go along, major things.
No, but that's,
So we
it's a
pay him a
legitimate
lot of
concern.
money.
No,
It's a legitimate
It
concern.
is legitimate concern.
But it's a legitimate concern no matter what, you know, we've seen new buildings built, and.
Listen,
and
it's low bid work, I understand.
Look at Middletown. Middletown proposed to build something, I think it was gonna cost them $10 million, now they're talking about $105 million public-private partnership. In my experience with public-private partnership, it's not a partnership, it's a one-way street for the private.
And again, I mean, we don't need something on the scale of Middletown, we're not 64 square miles, we're never, no matter what gets built in Fort Monmouth, we're not gonna be a 110-man police department, but
Okay, Gary, I can put it this way, at $11 million, we're gonna have a quality product. At $15 million, we could have a sparkling product, but $11 million is where we're at. And for $11 million, we're gonna have exactly more than what we need. We're gonna have, our municipal building will be full up. There'll be but then we're still gonna have almost 8 or 10,000 square feet in the back of the, and that's next generation's, hey, we gave you this empty space, if you needed, which we didn't have at our other building.
No, we didn't have any
don't
space.
here, and we don't have over
Basically,
at
they
the
have
other.
a whole nother Old Borough Hall that we're not using.
Right, so there's room there for them to do 15 years from now, 10 years from now, there is room for expansion. You know, it's not gonna be the Taj Mahal, but it's gonna be certainly a lot better than what we have.
And it
before.
doesn't have to be the Taj Mahal, it's gotta be functional and it's gotta be something that will last us, because, like I said, I mean, Borough Hall was abysmal before the storm.
Yeah, and I think what they did right this time is they sat down, and I think Donna did it again, sat down with the chief, sat down with the OEM, sat down with the fire department, and got their needs, their wants, and then we're able to put in what they needed to do in order to satisfy if we have an emergency, what if there's something happens, what if we're out of it? And we sat down with Pleasant, and they got input, and they took it, and they listened. I mean, I think they listened to a lot of what you said about everything. I mean, so hopefully it's what we need. I agree with you, I understand that.
We're not gonna move into a place that was gonna be obsolete the day after we move in.
Might take a couple weeks.
Hey, you.
Government.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody else taking the mic? If not, motion adjourned?
So moved.